So when I hear oil and gas is dirty or coal is dirty, I'm like, take a look at your own supply chain. Take a look at what every single energy form is dependent on natural resources for fabrication, for every fabric of putting all the concrete in the ground to hold up these wind turbines. These are all oil and gas related and fossil fuel related. And I want to see Canada thrive in this because we have the human right records. And I know you always hear this from industry. We're the best in the world. We're the best. We truly are the best. When you start hearing about young kids in the Congo dying because they don't have any food and they're working in these mines, it puts it in perspective. As a mom, it's like, okay, this is really what we're up against as a global conversation. It's very ironic at the end of the day.
Hello everyone, today it's April 10th and I'm reporting from the capital of Canada, Ottawa, covering one of the largest networking conferences on conservative viewpoints. Since Justin Trudeau came into power in 2015, the attacks on oil and gas industry have significantly increased.
We need to get off of fossil fuels as a dependency we have. We need to move beyond fossil fuels.
Our radical climate change minister, Stephen Guilbeault, doesn't miss an opportunity to criticize Alberta and other provinces that produce some of the cleanest oil and gas on the planet.
My environment minister, I have tremendous faith and confidence in my environment minister. And if people are having a trouble getting along with them, maybe they need to look at their own approach to these big issues as opposed to looking at what he's talking about, which is consistent with building a better future for everyone.
During the conference, multiple oil and gas advocates have discussed the future of energy. Heidi McKillop, who participated in the conference as a speaker, is the CEO and founder of ASN Production. She has also created numerous documentaries, commercial, and short film aimed at changing the negative public narrative surrounding Canadian energy development. Today, we are discussing the future of oil and gas and achieving the net zero emissions.
Today, I want to take a bit of time to reflect on our Liberal vision for the future of Canada. A vision that moves Canada forward and does so by tackling the most fundamental challenge facing our generation, climate change.
So my name is Heidi McKillop. I'm a documentarian, so I do a lot of pro-oil and gas content. We focus a lot on energy as a whole across Canada. We want to understand what are the pros and cons of energy forms, and we try to be as pragmatic as we can with the conversation.
What do you think about the attack on oil and gas by the Liberals?
I mean, I think this is so contradictory to their spending that they love to do all the time. And where are you going to get the money from? It is from natural resources, and the revenue that is generated in Canada is foundational to the fabric of our society. And to eliminate it or to try to say that it shouldn't be around is so contradictory to what they need to function as Liberals. I mean, if you take away the oil and gas revenue, what do we have left? Are we going to go into water revenue? Are we going to go to rare minerals and different things like that? And I feel like this is such a interesting conversation. It's so hypocritical in a lot of ways.
The NDP Trudeau carbon tax on the farmer who grows the food and the trucker who ships the food is a tax on all who buy the food. Now they want to quadruple the tax. I'm Pierre Polyev. I'll axe the tax so you pay less and bring home more.
Do you think that it's possible that one day we just remove oil and gas, we don't touch it anymore, and we just use battery and solar energy and water energy?
Absolutely not. So I've been really investigating this for the last few months in southern Alberta. We're putting out a new documentary pretty soon here. And we've been tapping into what are the pros and cons of solar and wind. And residential solar makes more sense because the energy is transmitted in your place that you're actually using the energy form. When you start getting into transmission lines and lost energy and placement of wind turbines, it's very complicated. And I think that there is no replacement of oil and gas right now that I have seen. There's, SMRs are probably 30 years away from being market valued at the same capacity that's going to complement oil and gas, not even remove it, but complement it. And, the subsidies and different things that this industry has seen has still not been performing at its capacity. And it's been quite a few decades now that it's been up and operational. So I think politicians are kind of up against the wire right now because it's an ideologically driven conversation. It's not based on facts.
I want to have your thoughts on the fact that what we see about Stephen Guilbeault attacking one of the cleanest oil and gas that we can find in the planet.
They want to double their actual production.
Can you
Sorry, could we do that bit again because of that siren?
Yeah, and also, Stephen, you need to really condense down what you're saying.
Media bites.
Media bites.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
what is Suncor? So just
Okay.
You know,
No Canada stuff. Just okay.
And in another way, it's not really attacking China that is doing oil and gas with coal plan. What do you make of this nonsense?
So I actually tried not to go after coal because, again, these are natural resources that are in the ground that we utilize all around the world for our economies, for our way of life, for survival as humans that we codepend on. What is so interesting about this conversation is that they're not taking into the rare minerals that are developed across the world for batteries. So take cobalt, for instance, in the Congo. It is extremely volatile over there. They have experienced a ton of human rights issues. Children are working in mines. They're dying around, the wayside. There's no regulation. They're all Chinese owned and operated in that region. These are conversations that are part of the fabric of the renewable conversation. So when I hear oil and gas is dirty or coal is dirty, I'm like, take a look at your own supply chain. Take a look at what every single energy form is dependent on natural resources for fabrication, for every fabric of putting all the concrete in the ground to hold up these wind turbines. These are all oil and gas related and fossil fuel related. And I want to see Canada thrive in this because we have the human right records. And I know you always hear this from industry. We're the best in the world. We're the best. We truly are the best. When you start hearing about young kids in the Congo dying because they don't have any food and they're working in these mines, it puts it in perspective. As a mom, it's like, okay, this is really what we're up against as a global conversation. It's very ironic at the end of the day.
And for achieving the 2030 goal for net zero, some of the province, as you were probably aware, Quebec have decided not only to ban the discovery but the extraction of natural resources as natural gas, where we have a lot under our feet. What do you make of that?
I think it's so interesting when it comes to Quebec politics in particular. The reason that they are so highty-tighty on all this stuff and they're able to make really bold statements about not developing natural resources is because of Hydro-Quebec. Let's be honest. They really are foundational to the energy form in that province, so they don't need to necessarily rely on Alberta and the rest of Canada. However, the transfer payments and the subsidies that they receive as a province are directly affiliated with our natural resources. So we're talking about $13 billion per annual basis. I think these are conversations, again, that goes down to the hypocrisy of what it is follow the money. We really need to teach our Canadian citizens to say, what is that ideologically driven by? Is that a foundation of values, or is that just because one company like Hydro-Quebec is saying, we're going to create the policies, we're going to set the policies, we're going to set the standard for Quebecers, culturally speaking, and then we're just going to affiliate with that nonstop. And that's really what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm. My last question would be around, we have the Greek Prime Minister who visited recently, and he was asking for gas, and Justin Trudeau refused.
I mean, I think it stands to reason. I'm an Albertan, and I find it, again, ironic. Every time I see these news clips every once in a while from politicians coming in from different countries, it makes me sad. I think Canada, again, because we have our human rights standards and our environmental rights, you said you were a biologist in your past life. And I think these are things that are very substantial to our belief system here in Canada. We love our environment. We are incredibly blessed to be part of the natural world. We live in open space, open range. We're mostly country out here. And when you see people saying, we don't care about our environment, it's ironic. You're like, come on now. There's not a better environmentalist in the world than Canadians. We love our environment. And we are leaders in this. And I think this is something that we should always be proud of. And I know we always hear that soundbite, but as you can tell, I'm very passionate about this and I'm very foundational in it because it is our value system that we need to move forward on. And countries are starving for having good connections and good affordability for these natural resources. And now they're leaning on China and Russia that have democracies lack of democracy in their countries.
The level of admiration I actually have for China, because their basic dictatorship is allowing them to actually turn their economy around on a dime and say, we need to go green as fast as we need to start, investing in solar. I mean, there is a flexibility that I know Stephen Harper must dream about, of having a dictatorship that he could do everything he wanted, that I find quite interesting.